for today's adventure, you're going to need a forge, a blow dryer with a pipe, tongs, some PLA or SLA castings, a crucible, some scrap aluminum, some crucible tools for getting the crucible out and pouring, some coal, some pie tins, make sure they're steel, you just use the magnet, and some safety equipment. Okay, so the first step is to take your 3D printed part and I guess clean it up a bit. I'm just going to use my scissors. So the first part comes off pretty easy. You just kind of undo it. Tricky part's going to be the cleanup later. Since I'm planning on laying the figures like this on the cap, I need to create air holes or air vents that come out of the extremities, so like each leg and each arm needs an air vent. And so for that, I'm going to use these straws and I'm just going to glue them in. So just for example, let's do, well I guess first let's glue this guy on here because it's going to tell us how far we need to make the straw go. And I don't want to use too much glue. One, because it causes problems later on, like that's going to be something that I need to, that's going to melt off, and so, you know, it's going to be something I need to fix in the aluminum version. And two, because I need to pull this cap off at some point, and it's going to be easier if it's not on there too tightly. So yeah, that's on there now. And so next I need to, I guess, figure out what angle I'm leaving at. So let's do this back leg, and let's come out at the sharp angle. So I need to cut this at a sharp angle, and that should work. So now I need to glue this. That's a bit much glue. That's okay. And there you go. And then while that's drying, I suppose I could have cut this ahead of time, but yeah, I probably used too much glue. But yeah, you want to just make sure you're above the, I guess technically below the lid. And so there you go. And so when you're done, it should look like this, maybe a little nicer. Remember, you can always add too much stuff because then that'll be more aluminum later, and then you can, you know, buff out the aluminum. But you can't add aluminum, so keep that in mind. The first thing I'm doing is heating up the forge while also attempting to dry out and possibly melt out some of the plastic, or at least get the melting process started so that the aluminum can flow in more easily. So now we just let the cast roast until most of the coal is gone. Okay, so I believe at least started casting out or melting out some of the plastic. It looks like I've got some holes in there for the aluminum to go in. So I think that's good for now. I am going to now start the heating process for the aluminum. I put a little bit too much coal in there, but as it burns out, it should the crucible should sink into the forge. And once it gets deep enough, I will put the two blocks on there. So now we're going full speed ahead. We're reaching 1200 degrees, which is what we need for aluminum. So I guess we just gotta wait now for it to melt. Alright, so here we have liquid aluminum. And hopefully you can see that. Yep. And we can stir it around a bit. And we can see that it's very liquidy. Okay. There's a fair amount of dross. I'm going to try to take that stuff out, and then it's going to be pouring time. Alright, it's showtime. First we use the tongs to carefully lift out. And it seems to be kind of stuck. There we go. Just got a good hold on it. Transfer it over to this guy. Gotta make sure we got a good hold on that. Okay. Put this in. Pick this guy up. Carefully goes into the mold. Okay. I get an extra aluminum. And go into the pan. And finally, you want to let the crucible cool down slowly. And let's fill it back up. All right. And now we wait. Okay, so let's see what we got. It's been a couple hours. The aluminum ingots came out pretty good. This should be easier to melt next time. So once the aluminum has cooled off, you can just kind of smash off the cast. It just kind of falls off, hit it with anything. And yeah, and you're left with this small thing that you have to clean up a bit. So the first step is I'm going to get it off of the aluminum, off of the stand, I guess, the top. And that's pretty straightforward. At least it would be if I wanted to stick. So all that's left now to do is to clean this up a bit. So I'm going to take a Dremel with a cutting wheel. And finally, I'm going to buff out some artifacts from the casting process.